He has a 1-1 count. That one struck high. Left side. That one's going. That's out of here off the list. You have to be kidding me. Fireworks. Here you go.
Welcome in, everybody. Before you skip ahead to your favorite classes rankings, because I know you guys do that, I would probably do the same. I'm not going to lie. We do have some news we want to share dropping today at some point. I don't have the link yet. It is going to be here very soon, hopefully today, Monday. We are dropping merch. I was able to run out to Pleasantville, give Mr. Bingham some merch to rock so you can see it. It looks good. It's super broad. Any sport, I mean, baseball, softball, wrestling, football, whatever it is, this merch is for everybody, and that's why we made it like this, non-sport specific. But obviously, it's baseball season, so we're going to push it pretty heavy. 15 colors in that one shirt. Obviously, Braylon's rocking some orange. I got some maroon. There's blues. There's reds. There's grays. There's blacks. I mean, anything you'd want, it's right there. $15 a shirt. Obviously, want to make this affordable, and it's just a great way to support the IA brand, rock our gear, and yeah, we're gonna have a ton of fun, and we made it as cheap as possible. So when I get the link, it will be blasted on socials. You will have a hard time missing it. I'll say that, but it'll be a ton of fun, and we're excited to get into it. But Andrew, it's all yours now.
Well, I got to say, what an intro there. Get that stuff. That stuff is really good. I got mine in a blue. Unfortunately, my 4-year-old got a handle of it, and it's a little sticky and in the wash right now. So it is durable. I'll give you that. Really, really good durable stuff. But yeah, what a week it was. Man, a lot of changes here. But in the end, I think what we're starting to see is that shakeup. I know that we've had 1A, 2A brackets out there, but now's the time where we start to see postseason. And I think we've done a good job. I look back at our track record here, and for the most part, the last couple seasons, our rankers have done a good job about getting teams that end up late in the postseason, if not the state tournament. So let's hope that continues to rock and roll. Another weekend, and of course, we got to start with that 1A scene. And as the 1A scene goes, there's a lot of little shifts. I'll say that. A lot of little things going on here. Cade, I want to say that even if you don't shift, it's not necessarily a bad thing. One of the things our rankers do is take into account what other teams are doing as well. So whether your favorite team drops a little bit or they go up a little bit, there's a lot of different factors that go into that. And I think that's very holistic. But in the end, one of the teams that did not move, and I mean, normally I talk about teams that moved up a bit, but I want to talk about Martinsdale St. Mary's. And they continue under Coach Fitzpatrick to really rock it. I can't get enough of Trey White, who is not only batting .582, but he holds the school's record in doubles and has the school, not just the school record, but the state record, which I believe in a single season is set for right around 30. So that's on the docket for them. And this is a team that continually is just pushing through. And I know that we put brackets out there, and we'll get a taste, ladies and gentlemen. You'll get a taste of our thoughts on what the brackets will look like here for us anyway. But I think this is a team here, Kate, that has so much potential because most of these saw what happened last year in their early exit. A lot of people pegged this team, the Blue Devils, to make it to the state tournament. I think they've got what it takes in the long run to get there. They've got enough guys under their belt that really, again, White's one of many. I know we just have a little bit of time to shed light on a few guys here, but White is definitely a guy that I think is in the running to be one of the Mr. IAbaseball. I'm just putting it out there. He is one of the many that's been rocking it. So, again, congrats to White on making that big mark within the school program, but also he's a guy that not only, I mean, if you look across the entire scape here, Kate, he leads every batter, I guess, tied with Cal Jepsen of Sioux City East for the most total bases in the season right now. And then, of course, as I mentioned, 24 doubles. That's one of the highest marks that we see across the entire landscape as well in the entire state. So he has been doing phenomenal. He is a guy that's leading it, and this team, uh, again, number one in doubles, I should say, in the state. But he, along with Colton White, the White brothers, taking flight, doing a lot of good things. So I think this is a squad that is going to be very dangerous to look at, and I don't think we've given them enough love.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think another team we haven't given enough love to is North Lynn. I mean, we talked about Sigourney and Linville Sole matching up undefeated last week. Obviously, Sigourney comes out on top in that one, and then the next day, North Lynn and goes and knocks out the only unranked or the only undefeated team left in Class 1A. So we're at 0 right now with undefeated teams in Class 1A, and I feel like that's pretty wild because I feel like Class 1A
Yeah.
is usually the one that has something, but North Lynn, I mean, we knew this team was going to be good because last year, I mean, they were a quarterfinalist and they lost nobody and everybody's back. I saw Mason Beacon finally getting some innings. I know he's been dealing with an injury of some sort, but he got his first innings and he looked good. 4 innings and 4Ks so far for him. So if they can get him revving up, I mean, that just makes them even more dangerous because they've been lethal without him on the hill. But we know what he provides with the bat and in the box, and that's a whole lot of power and that team just up and down deep with him and Griffith at the top. So
Yeah.
Northland, a super fun team, and they've been steady, consistent, and I mean that they're starting to rack up some big wins, and they haven't lost since June 2nd. They got swept by Starmont, and that is it. As far as blemishes on the schedule this year, so they're getting hot at the right time, and I mean, like you said, it's postseason time in Class 1A, 2A with that approaching. So these rankings are a little bit more minuscule, but still a ton of fun doing them, and it's fun seeing where we think teams stack up. But were you
Mhm.
ready for Class 2A, Andrew?
Oh yeah, I think 2A is just as much of a up and down. You got a new team in there with Unity Christian, and I think this is a team we saw last year. Again, we saw the phenomenal year that they put up, but I got to give a shout out to them because they went out and they really took MLC Floyd Valley, strong 3A squad, and they took them as far as they could go. They won. They won in a tough battle there, but midweek game won them, and that just shows where they're at right now. It may not be. They may not have been into the rankings up to this point, but Unity Christian still is one of those squads that has it all. And the Bozeman brothers, I think, are kind of like the Bash brothers. I consider them the Bash brothers of 2A, the White brothers, Martinsdale St. Mary's in 1A. So now we got to find what 3A and 4A are like. But in the end, I think that it's Unity Christian that keeps on pouring out. Their stats aren't going to be overwhelming by any mark here, Cade. But in the end, they do what they need to do. They get it done. In the end, they're still top 20 in overall hit doubles, I should say, on the season. Hits wise, they're in there too. Offensively, they're just doing what they need to do. I know it's sounds so simple, so simplistic, boring. I get it, but man, sometimes boring is good. We've seen Pleasantville continue their run, and again, some people call it boring, but they kept winning and winning, and they're still one of the better teams, if not the best team that 2A has right now. Same with Van Meter. You can give love some hint to Hinton there that way as well, but I think that honestly, this is a squad that uh, you could go down the list, and they have at least 4 or 5 guys with 20 or more total bases on the season. So there is something to be said about where this team is headed. I like them right now. I like them to be, at this point, you could call them a dark horse. I don't think anybody's overlooking this team, but either way, they're going to make some noise here come postseason.
Yeah, I'm picking a team right around that range too. That's Dyke New Hartford. They've just had a great year. They've racked up some big wins, had some close losses, but at the end of the day, I like talking about these guys because I think that sub-state they drew is really interesting. I know we're probably going to do a video about all the sub-states and what we think, but I mean,
Mhm.
Dyke New Hartford gets in with Pleasantville, but Dyke's got their guy. I mean, if Carson Costello can be in that game and able to throw, I mean, he's ace-worthy material, and he's I mean, arguably a top 5 arm in this class, and he could be a danger to a top team like Pleasantville if they can hold on to him. Obviously, they got to go through Anamosa first and win all their other games. But Dyke New Hartford is the team I saw right away when those brackets dropped, and I was like, ooh, that's a tough draw for a top seed because that's a really good team, and they've had multiple guys on our list. Connor Dancer's been hitting it well. Gavin Gerbrock has been their hit leader. I mean, this is a fun team. They don't have to play a ton of games. Their schedule is a little bit lighter, so it's a little harder to gauge those teams. But they've been winning everything they've thrown at them. I mean, they're 12-2 to this point, and drawing a top seed in their substate. So we know what Dyke New Hartford's capable in Class 2A.
Yeah, man, that's honestly one of those teams that like they're one of those two. They could be a dark horse. Then again, I don't know if anybody's really overlooking them. They've had a great pedigree as of late, so I think it's well worth it there. But speaking about well worth it, let's move on to the 3A scene here. And I gotta say, our ranker for the first time this year, anyway, has had 3 new teams into the rankings here with Harlan, Mount Vernon, and Des Moines Christian. I did want to go ahead and start with Carlisle just a bit because they've moved up not only 5 spots, but this is a squad that honestly the pitching is what really helped vault them into the state tournament a couple of years ago. And where do they sit now? Top 3 in strikeouts across 3A. This is a team that's been methodical. They've done what they needed to do. And really what this team possesses here, Kate, I feel they've just got consistency. You know, 180 strikeouts, as I mentioned, and nearly a third coming in. Like again, near half of that coming in conference, and this is a conference, by the way, with the Raccoon River that has placed at least one team in the state tournament the last 8 consecutive seasons. So when you're putting nearly half of your strikeouts in the conference, you're doing something right in a conference like this. It's been very potent, and obviously Hayden Mowinkle has been the biggest highlight here. 59 strikeouts, teams hitting 147 against him. The works. The offensive side of the ball, not too shabby either, though. 8 batters sporting 20 or more total bases on the year. This is a team that honestly was, I'll be honest, overlooked when the season started. They have just been consistent. They were a perfect 4-0 this week, and one of the few teams to go perfect across this week's slate. And of course, then um, I also got to give a shout out just very quickly here to Sadell. I think our ranker might have gone a little too low with where they're at, but in the end, they're still a top 15 team. I mean, here's the thing, though, Cade. They're the only team in 3A with 3 pitchers in the top 10 for strikeouts. That has to tell you all you need to know. Mine, Hicks, Townsley, all have been on a tear, and the offense not so silent as well. I got to see one of the several home runs from Camden Jorgensen, who he can blast it out. I mean, he leads all first basemen in the class with his 56 total bases, but still, I mean, that this team I think is very capable of hitting top 10 status and more. And then lastly, got to give a shout out to Mount Vernon, the Mustangs, back into the rankings here. And I think it's rightfully so. I mean, you look at that 10-9 record, and some people go, well, where are we seeing this from? What's the deal? But in the end, they did sweep Clear Creek Amana. They were a top 16 team at that point. And then Colin Bentley, who is striving for the program's stolen base record and looking to grab the single season record as well. But then a name that you have to take a look at here, Cade, is Eric Lamb. In the end, this is a guy that it's his first full season in Iowa high school baseball. He was a mid-year transfer in 2023 out of South Carolina, and he had only played 14 games to that point. But he came back. I think the biggest thing to note here is he came back from an ACL surgery in 2024, 13 games played in Iowa then. So, and all that to say, a guy coming off of ACL surgery now with 11 doubles, and he has 15 in his Iowa career right now, but 11 doubles, ranking second in the class. There is something to be said there. This is a team that had a lot of young guys up there. Now they're getting this senior leadership, that upperclassman leadership. Mount Vernon may not have the record that I think that their talent can give, but this is going to be a team, I guarantee you, that's going to find a way deep into the postseason. And I would not be surprised if this team in particular, Cade, makes a state tournament run.
Yeah, I think this week for 3A, 4A, these rankings are so important because we're getting brackets this week, and we know how much that these rankings are weighed and whatnot, and the coaches and whatnot. So these are telling rankings, and you look, if you're a top 2, 3 team, you're looking at those 10 through 16 teams and kind of eyeing who might end up in your bracket. And there's a lot of teams right there like Mount Vernon and Sadell and Carlisle that you just don't want in your bracket as a 2 or 3 seed.
Mhm.
And some of these top teams are going to draw these guys, and it's going to create some fun matchups. So we're really excited to see what these brackets look like. But before we move on to 4A, I am going to give some love to Wahlert Catholic. They are one of just 2 top teams. Andrew, you pointed out, it was a really good stat. Only two number 1 teams have stayed number 1 all year. That's Wahlert Catholic. That's Remsen St. Mary's. But Wahlert is just, I mean, they've been as advertised. I mean, in Class 3A, they're top 5 in basically every single pitching category, and it's because they got that 3-headed monster. I mean, we saw Piero throw Friday night, Andrew, extremely impressive. Fodi Regopoulos through Game 2, impressive in itself. They have Brandon Cummer right there as well, who's a really solid 2-3, however you want to spill it. But they've got a really good pitching staff. They play really good baseball. And I think an underrated story with Wahlert Catholic was the return of Parker Studman. I
Yeah.
think he's back. I mean, he was playing his first games. It looked like he was coming off injury. I was there earlier in the year, and he wasn't playing because he was hurt. But he played a rock solid third base. He was making some really good plays, and he provides a lot of stability inside of that program. And he's a senior leader for him, and it was good to see him back. And just a good team getting even better is scary this time of year, and that's what they're getting with Studman. I was really impressed with him. But yeah, that's what I got for 3A. Andrew, you ready for 4A?
Oh, I sure am. I
Let's do
got to
it.
tell you what, though, this has been this is very in particular for me because I look and I see for, I believe, the third or fourth straight week, we have the top 3
Mhm.
intact. And I do want to give, before I go on to the team that I pegged here first, I got to give a little love to Johnston because they had the most losses to start the season in the first 10, 15 games of the season than they've had the last 5 to 7 years. But here's where they're at right now. I guarantee you that Johnston will be a big push in the postseason. They're not going to be a team that you ever want to see, simply because, I mean, you got guys who have known it. I mean, you've been there. There's still guys on this squad that can still rock it and do everything that they need to do. They've been very effective, and again, we've seen them again stumble out of the gates, but that's I don't think that's anything to fault them on. Again, they haven't had the guys that we've seen in the past, but they have Sam Kemmer, and I really like him. And I got to give a shout out to Will Nuss again. He's been there since his freshman year starting. That's going to come in handy down the road, I guarantee you. But a team that I'm also looking at right now is a team new into the rankings here in Bettendorf. Wrigley Mathis is a guy that would be number 1 on almost every team out there. And I do say almost every team out there. They've been very solid. They've done what they needed to do. And in the end, they've kind of they pull through when they need to. This has been a team that has gotten some really good solid wins under their belt. And I think that to overlook them is going to be a grave mistake in the long run. I think, the last couple of weeks they have been getting close. In the end, this is a team that still kind of rising a little bit. I'm sure that they didn't have the season that they wanted to, but in the end, they still have 15 wins. How many teams can say they've claimed that? They still have 5 wins inside a really tough Mississippi Athletic Conference. And when it boils down to it, uh, the, so many guys have such impactful mark. Again, they have 6, 7 guys who have 20 or more total bases. Mathis, I mentioned, but Landon Potts is a senior that you can't overlook as well. He's got 16 runs driven in on the year, and this is a gritty team. We've seen the last couple of years have some big wins under their belt, and in the end, this year they've had some solid outings as well. Kept it close against Pleasant Valley, but a sweep over North Scott, Beckman Catholic win there as well. So they've had some solid wins, and I think that when you look at some of the earlier wins against Iowa City Liberty, against Iowa City West, against Ankeny Centennial, then you start to go, okay, that's building up, and now their resume is starting to get that much better. They're well deserved to be in the top 16.
Yeah, no doubt. Another team that I'm going to give love to. I mean, we talk about the CIML a lot, but the next best conference might just be the MVC, and it probably is the MVC. And Liberty sits third in that entire field in conference wins, and they're coming off a massive doubleheader sweep over Prairie. I think they could have probably gotten a little bit more love. I mean, they did get 10 run by Waller, but they've also beat Southeast Polk. So, I mean, Liberty is a team that's getting hot at the right time, and we know what the pitching's right like with Waterbury when he's throwing. Man, that's a tough team to beat. They're top 5 in batting average in Class 4A. It's a really balanced team. A really scary team in Class 4A because they're right around the 8-9. I mean, they're going to draw one of these top teams and be a headache for somebody in a bracket as a 2 or 3 seed if they don't end up getting a 1 seed, which they very well could. But Liberty, you talk about getting hot at the right time. They got a big week here. Hempstead, Atumwa on their docket. But the Bolts, man, I mean, it seems like another team in postseason time that's just always there or seemingly there in those final games to go to state, or they're getting to the quarterfinals. I mean, Liberty is one of those programs that you can't argue with what they've done. They've shown up when it matters most, and here they are yet again. I mean, number 8 and rising at a good time.
Yeah, and you got to think about back in, I believe, 2017-18 was the first year in existence for them. And now look at where they've come. They've had, I think they've only had 2 years in their entire time as a program where they have not had 20 or more wins. So, you know, Coach Martinez, you got to give a shout out to him taking the reins recently. But man, I think you're right. I would not overlook the Bolts by any means. But
No
but
doubt.
man, I certainly this has been again another great week of it, another great tradition here, and again, everybody, check out not only this but other stuff across our platforms, rockfin.com. Make sure to check out what we got. And again, that includes our updated volume 2 of the rankings. And so, if you got the chance to check on socials, Cade and I and our rankers put that our all-star team, one of 17,000 variations of anyway that we could put in there. So make sure to check that out. Plenty of chances for you to get your votes in. By the way, we're still letting those votes tail just a little bit for performance of the week, player of the week, whatever the stat line. Give it a. I mean, we don't care. Did he have 12 walks? Great. We want to know about it. It doesn't matter whatever the stat. What we want to hear about it. And again, it's up to you guys to go out and vote. That's a big part of this. So vote, 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 vote. And then you could be our player of the week, which we will give every Tuesday right around noon on our high and tight program. It's one of the first things out there, so you don't need to skip ahead to anything. So right off the bat there, also check out some highlights, some storylines of the week, and of course, some great interviews, and including Coach Stenberg of Grinnell. He had a big milestone win at 300. Again, got to give a shout out to all the other coaches who have had a milestone win. From Coach Harpenaz, Coach Pat Brown, all those who have hit that mark. I know I'm missing out on some, but congratulations on what is rarefied air. And again, thank you for what you do. But with that, Cade, along with the big shout out to the umpires for making this happen, man, this is a nice, great ending to another great tradition.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, next week we're going to be talking playoffs for all 4 classes, which is crazy to think. I mean, we're already to this point. But I mean, we say this every year. I mean, this is year 3 of me being at IAbaseball, and every year the seasons just go faster and faster. So you really got to enjoy it while you can. This is officially, I'd say, the dog days of high school baseball. So go out and enjoy some baseball if you can, because I mean, it's going to be gone before we know it.
That's true. That's true. So everybody enjoy it up. Thanks for tuning in. As always, catch High and Tight and other broadcasts. Catch our social media scene. We got more guys out there catching all the stuff and going to games that you requested. And so we're going to be doing that as well here coming up this week. There is the Prongy Classic, which we'll be at. And of course, also catch us broadcast wise on Saturday at Tall Anderson Field in Omaha. We'll be there as well. And shout out to LSU for taking the College World Series title over the magical Green Roosters of Coastal Carolina. So congrats to them. And again, thanks again for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you later. Stay safe on the base paths.